It begins like any other day. You wake up, you reach for your phone, your digital window to the world, but something is wrong. There is no Wi-Fi signal, no cellular data. You see the dreaded no service icon, annoying you think, probably a local outage. You try to turn on the TV, but it's just static, the radio just a hiss. You decide to drive to work. You get in your car, but the GPS won't connect. Strange. You navigate by memory, but as you pull out onto the street, you notice something deeply unsettling. The traffic lights are out. All of them. The city is descending into a quiet, gridlocked chaos. You get to the office. The power is out there too. No lights, no computers. You try to call your family, but your phone is a dead brick. You try an ATM to get some cash. The screen is blank. You go to the grocery store. Their payment systems are down. They can't sell you anything. Hours turn into a day. The silence is the most terrifying part. No news, no updates, no connection to the outside world. Rumors begin to spread like wildfire. A massive cyber attack, a declaration of war. This was not an attack from another country. This was an attack from our own sun. What if I told you that this scenario is not science fiction? What if I told you that a weather event, a storm in space 93 million miles away, has the very real scientifically proven potential to cause a global long-term blackout of our entire electrical grid and the internet? An event that could, in a matter of hours, send our modern interconnected civilization back to a pre-industrial dark age. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is what keeps astrophysicists and national security experts up at night. They call it the internet apocalypse. And it is not a matter of if it will happen, but when. Think about your life right now. Your job, your money, your food, your connection to loved ones. How much of it depends on a working internet and a stable power grid? Be brutally honest. In the comments, tell us the one thing you would miss the most if the internet disappeared forever. So what is this invisible killer? This cosmic threat that can hold our entire world hostage? It's not the sun's heat, it's not its light. It is a weapon forged in the sun's chaotic magnetic fields, a coronal mass ejection, or CME. Imagine a billion-ton cloud of magnetized plasma, a ghost-like hurricane larger than the Earth itself being violently ejected from the sun and hurtling through space at millions of miles per hour. You might think this is just a modern fear, a product of our technological age. Wrong. A storm of this magnitude has hit us before. In 1859, a CME of colossal size slammed into our planet. It was called the Carrington Event. Telegraph systems across the world spontaneously caught fire. In this video, we will deconstruct this silent planetary scale threat. We will take you inside the sun's fiery furnace to explain why these plasma bombs are created. We will show you the fascinating, paradoxical way our own planet's magnetic shield becomes a weapon against us. We will walk you through the step-by-step collapse of our modern world from the power grid to the internet in the face of a modern Carrington event. And most importantly, we will give you a realistic blueprint on how to prepare for a world without a connection. This isn't a doomsday fantasy. This is a critical intelligence briefing on one of the most significant and least understood threats to our civilization, so stick with us. What you are looking at is not fire. It is plasma, a superheated state of matter where electrons are stripped away from their atoms. The surface of the sun is a roiling, boiling ocean of this plasma constantly churning and bubbling. But the true source of its fury, the engine that creates the solar storms, is something invisible, its magnetic field. Imagine thousands of giant, elastic rubber bands anchored deep inside the sun's core, looping out into space and back down again. As the sun rotates, and because different parts of the sun rotate at different speeds, the equator spins faster than the poles. These magnetic field lines get twisted, stretched, and tangled like a phone cord that's been twisted too many times. They store an incredible amount of energy in this tension. It's the exact same principle as a slingshot. The farther you pull back the rubber band, the more potential energy you store. The sun's magnetic field is a planetary scale slingshot being pulled back continuously for days or weeks. Eventually, the tension becomes too great. The tangled magnetic field lines reach a breaking point, and just like a rubber band that's been stretched too far, they snap. This snap is a violent event called magnetic reconnection, and it releases all that stored energy in a single catastrophic instant in two distinct but related forms. Weapon 1, the solar flare. The first thing you get is a solar flare. This is the flash, an intense blinding burst of radiation, primarily X-rays and ultraviolet light that erupts from the sun's surface. This radiation travels at the speed of light, meaning it hits the Earth in just 8 minutes. This is the warning shot. A powerful solar flare can disrupt radio communications and pose a radiation hazard to astronauts in space, but for us on the ground, our atmosphere protects us from the worst of it. It's a powerful event, but it's not the civilization killer. The real weapon, the cannonball that follows the muzzle flash, is the second event. Weapon 2, the coronal mass ejection. The same magnetic reconnection event that creates the flare can also act like a giant cosmic slingshot, violently ejecting a massive chunk of the sun's own atmosphere, the corona, out into space. This is a coronal mass ejection, or CME. This is not light, this is matter. A billion-ton cloud of magnetized plasma, a ghost-like hurricane of charged particles larger than the Earth itself, now hurtling through the solar system at speeds of millions of miles per hour. This is the invisible bullet. It is slower than the flare, taking anywhere from 1 to 4 days to reach Earth. But it carries a far more destructive punch. It is this CME, this planetary-scale plasma bomb, that is the source of the internet apocalypse threat. It is the weapon that triggered the Carrington Event in 1859, and it is the one that scientists are watching for right now. So the Forge has fired its weapon. A billion-ton bullet of plasma is now screaming across the void on a direct collision course with Earth. It is an unstoppable force, but our planet is not defenseless. It has a shield, a powerful invisible magnetic field that has protected life on this planet for eons. So what happens when this unstoppable force meets our planet's shield? You might think the shield would simply block it, but the reality is far stranger and far more dangerous. Because in this cosmic battle, the shield itself is about to become a sword. And in our next chapter, we will witness that violent collision. The weapon is launched. The billion-ton plasma bomb, the coronal mass ejection, is now on its way. A silent, invisible hurricane screaming across the 93 million mile void between the sun and the Earth. Its speed is almost incomprehensible. Some CMEs are slow, taking 3 to 4 days to make the journey. But the fast ones, the Carrington-class events, can cover that distance in as little as 15 to 18 hours. That's an average speed of over 5 million miles per hour. For us on Earth, the only warning we have is the initial flash of the solar flare. That flash traveling at the speed of light is our 8-minute head start. It's an alarm bell. As the CME travels, it carries with it a powerful embedded magnetic field courtesy of the sun. The orientation of this magnetic field, whether it's north or south pole, is pointing forward, is a critical and terrifyingly random variable. It is the factor that will determine whether the impact is a glancing blow or a direct catastrophic hit. And now the collision. Our planet is not naked in space, it is protected by a powerful invisible shield, the magnetosphere. This magnetic field generated by the molten iron core of our planet deflects most of the harmful solar wind, protecting our atmosphere and life itself. It is our planetary force field. Under normal conditions, it is our greatest ally. But a CME is not a normal condition. It is a brute force assault. As the billion-ton plasma cloud slams into the magnetosphere at millions of miles per hour, the shield is violently compressed on the sun-facing side. It bends, it warps, but it holds. Most of the plasma is deflected around our planet like water flowing around a boulder in a stream. But this is where the orientation of the CME's magnetic field becomes critical. If the CME's magnetic field is aligned with Earth's, the impact is largely deflected. It's a glancing blow. This creates a direct open channel, a magnetic superhighway, allowing the immense energy and torrent of charged particles from the CME to pour directly into our upper atmosphere, primarily near the north and south poles. This massive injection of energy does two things. First, it creates a spectacular planetary-scale light show. As these high-energy particles slam into the oxygen and nitrogen in our atmosphere, they excite them, causing them to glow. This is the aurora, the northern and southern lights. During a superstorm, these auroras are not just a gentle glow in the Arctic. They are brilliant, pulsating curtains of light, visible as far south as Cuba and Mexico. They are beautiful, and they are a warning sign. They are the visible evidence that our atmosphere is under a massive electrical assault. Second, and this is the killer mechanism, this torrent of energy creates a geomagnetic storm. The violent shaking and reconfiguration of our planet's entire magnetic field induces powerful, uncontrolled electrical currents, not just in space, but on the ground. So the shield has become a sword. The very force field that protects us has been turned into a weapon against us. It has channeled the sun's fury and is now about to unleash it upon the fragile technological nervous system of our civilization. The enemy is no longer a plasma cloud 93 million miles away. The enemy is now an invisible current flowing silently beneath our feet through the very wires that power our world. And in our next chapter, we will witness what happens when that current meets our power grid. A powerful geomagnetic storm would be inducing these currents across the entire grid simultaneously. One by one, then dozens by dozens, transformers across a continent would begin to overheat and fail. And the power grid is a finely balanced, interconnected system. When one part fails, it puts more stress on the others, creating a cascading failure. A blackout that starts in one state could trigger a chain reaction that takes down the entire national grid. This is a continent-wide, long-term blackout. The Internet Apocalypse. The modern internet is a web of fiber optic cables. You might think fiber optics transmit light, not electricity, so they're safe, right? Wrong. The cables themselves are safe. The problem is that the light signal needs to be amplified every 40 to 60 miles. And to do that, we have placed thousands of repeaters along these cables, especially the ones that lie on the ocean floor connecting continents. And what do these repeaters need to run electricity? They are powered by a copper conductor that runs alongside the fiber optic cable. This long continent-spanning copper wire is another perfect antenna for geomagnetically induced currents. During a superstorm, a massive current would be induced in these undersea cables. The repeaters, which are delicate pieces of electronic equipment, would be instantly fried. Not just one, potentially all of them across entire oceans. The result: the physical connections between continents would be severed. The global internet would not just go down, it would be physically broken. Replacing thousands of repeaters at the bottom of the ocean would be an unprecedented logistical nightmare, a task that could take months or even years. This is not a theoretical what if. This is a historical certainty. We saw a preview of it in 1859 with the Carrington Event. And in our next chapter, we will travel back in time to that fateful day to see what happens when a 19th century world comes face to face with a 21st century threat. It did not happen in 2024, it happened in 1859. This is the story of the Carrington Event. It is a ghost from the past, a chilling preview of our own potential future, and a warning that we have dangerously ignored. Our story begins not on Earth, but with a lone English astronomer named Richard Carrington. On the morning of September 1st, 1859, Carrington was in his private observatory doing what he did every day, sketching sunspots. It was a routine patient task, but on this day, he witnessed something no human had ever recorded before. Suddenly, two brilliant, blindingly white patches of light appeared over a large sunspot group. It was an intense, white-hot flash that lasted for 5 minutes. Carrington was stunned. He knew he had seen something extraordinary, but he had no idea he had just been the first human witness to a major solar flare. He had just seen the muzzle flash of the cosmic cannon. In the early hours of September 2nd, 1859, the plasma bomb hit. The Earth's magnetic shield was overwhelmed. A geomagnetic storm of unimaginable intensity began, and the 19th century world, a world lit by gas lamps and powered by steam, began to experience a taste of 21st century chaos. The first and most spectacular effect was the aurora. The northern lights, a phenomenon normally confined to the Arctic Circle, exploded across the entire globe. Newspapers from the time are filled with accounts of breathtaking disbelief. In the Rocky Mountains, gold miners woke up and started making breakfast thinking the sun had risen hours early. In the northeastern United States, the sky was so bright with curtains of red, green, and purple light that people could read a newspaper outside at 1 a.m. Auroras were seen as far south as Cuba, Jamaica, and Panama, places where the concept of an aurora was completely alien. It was a beautiful and deeply unsettling planetary light show. Imagine a sky so bright at night that you can read by it. It's a surreal image. What's the most incredible natural phenomenon you've ever witnessed in person? A total solar eclipse, a meteor shower. Share your story in the comments. But while the public was mesmerized by the lights in the sky, the true modern danger of the storm was making itself known through the most advanced technology of the age, the telegraph system. The telegraph network of 1859 was the 19th century's internet, a web of long metal wires stretching across continents. And as we now know, these long wires were the perfect antennas for the geomagnetically induced currents being generated by the storm. Reports from telegraph offices across North America and Europe flooded in, and they were bizarre. First, the operators received massive, severe electric shocks. The currents surging through the lines were so powerful they were electrocuting the very people trying to operate them. Second, the equipment began to spontaneously catch fire. The induced current was so strong it was melting the telegraph equipment. Sparks flew from the machines, igniting the telegraph paper, and in some cases setting the entire office ablaze. But the most mind-bending reports were of telegraphs that continued to work, even after they had been disconnected from their power supplies. The geomagnetic storm itself was inducing enough current directly into the wires to power the system. The Earth's atmosphere had become a giant, chaotic wireless power source. Carrington Event was a warning shot, a ghost from the past holding up a mirror to our present and showing us a terrifying reflection of our own fragility. The question is no longer if a storm of that magnitude will happen again. The scientific consensus is that it is a statistical certainty. The only question is when. So what happens when the next big one hits? Are we doomed to a global pre-industrial dark age? The answer is complicated. It is a race between the awesome, unpredictable power of the sun and the quiet, determined ingenuity of human science and engineering. This is the survival blueprint for the digital age, broken down into two levels: what they, the governments and corporations, are doing, and what you can do. Level 1, the planetary defense, hardening the system. The good news is we are not completely blind or defenseless. Unlike in 1859, we now have an early warning system. Satellites like the Deep Space Climate Observatory DSCOVR are positioned 1 million miles from Earth, directly in the sun's line of sight. They act as our cosmic tripwire. When a CME is launched towards us, these satellites can detect it, analyze its speed and magnetic field, and give us that crucial 15-hour to 60-hour warning. This warning is the single most important weapon we have. It doesn't stop the storm, but it gives us time to brace for impact. But even with the best preparations, a Carrington-level event would still cause widespread significant damage. Blackouts could last for days, weeks, or in the worst-hit regions, months. Which brings us to the most practical part of this video. Level 2, your personal blueprint, how to survive the blackout. What happens when the lights go out, the water stops pumping, the internet is gone, and the grocery store shelves are empty? Your survival depends not on what you do during the crisis, but on what you have prepared before it. The advice is surprisingly simple, and it's the same advice given for any major natural disaster. It's the rule of threes, but applied to modern life. The 3-day kit, the immediate aftermath. This is your go bag, your immediate survival kit. You should have enough supplies to survive on your own for at least 72 hours. Why? Because in a widespread disaster, emergency services will be completely overwhelmed. You are on your own. Water, the number one priority, 1 gallon or 4 liters per person per day. Food, non-perishable, ready-to-eat food. Energy bars, canned goods with a manual can opener. Light and communication flashlights with extra batteries. And most importantly, a hand crank or battery-powered emergency radio. This will be your only connection to the outside world. First aid kit, a well-stocked kit, is non-negotiable. The 3-week P, the extended outage. A Carrington-level event won't be fixed in 3 days. You need to be prepared for a multi-week outage. Water storage. This is the biggest challenge. Consider a large water storage container like a water bob for your bathtub or a reliable water filter. Long-term food. A larger stockpile of canned goods, rice beans. Sanitation. A plan for what to do when the toilets stop flushing. Cash. This is critical. Electronic payments will not exist. ATMs will be dead. Credit cards will be useless plastic. Cash will be king. Having a small stash of cash could be the difference between eating and not eating. The 3-month mindset, the societal shift. This is the hardest part. If a blackout lasts for months, society itself will change. Community, your greatest asset, will be your neighbors. Get to know them now. A strong community that works together is far more resilient than a lone wolf survivor. Community and knowledge. The story of the solar storm is the ultimate parable for our modern age. We have built a magnificent, interconnected global civilization, but our ability to share knowledge, to plan together, to act as a unified, intelligent species, that is our greatest strength. And understanding why we are vulnerable is the first and most critical step to becoming resilient.